Right, can we then have our next speaker, Terence, over to you, and welcome to the IBHS. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to present to you today. My presentation is going to be, as it says here, a pictorial review of HITEC 2008. Before we get into that, let me just talk about a couple of things: who we are and what is HITEC. First of all, our company, my company is Pertlink. We are IT consultants, for those of you that don't know us, to the hospitality industry. We've been now in this business for, I guess, going on our 9th year. We were originally headquartered in Hong Kong, and subsequently we set up a satellite operation here in Shanghai because of projects. All of our projects now are actually based in China. You can, of course, find out information about us by our extremely dynamic website, which is hosted by Emporio Asia. And I think we were one of Vincent's early customers with regards to getting into the hospitality industry, or hospitality industry, but not actually hospitality industry, if you like. And we're very happy with the service that he provides to us. Our projects are unique projects. When we started almost 9 years ago, we started in Hong Kong with what was called the Rosedale on the Park, and we launched what was called Hong Kong's first cyber boutique hotel. And of course we've graduated since then. We launched the Langham Place Hotel in 2004, and in Shanghai we're currently working on the Gemini Himalaya project, which is located opposite to the Shanghai Expo, for those of you that know that area, and also the Puli. The Himalaya Center is scheduled to open January 2010. So we're looking, of course, to that as a long-term project for us. We're also involved in a very exciting project which is called Tanggula, which is a luxury train that will run from Beijing to Lhasa in Tibet. And hopefully, by the end of this year, maybe perhaps early next year, we will launch that project as well. So it's very exciting to actually create a 5-star hotel on a moving train. HITEC is a hotel technology show, which is an annual hotel technology show, which is in the US. And I try as much as possible to attend that, to understand what is happening with regards to technology on the other side of the world. It's a little bit unfortunate that when you go to the show, you find a lot of US-centric products. And so it's quite often when you talk to a vendor and you say, I like your product very much, but do you have it in Chinese? The response can be no, but we have it in Spanish. Because as you know, the US market also a second language to them is Spanish. But more and more vendors are coming to understand the importance of Chinese language, and I'm happy to report as of this time, and I got back just yesterday morning, quite a few extra companies have realized the value and are either moving their software or who have already done so. Excuse me. But having said that, it is still a US-centric show, so you're going to find a lot of products there which are put forward by US companies, and they may not necessarily fit here in Asia, because it's difficult to import those particular products, or the vendor just may not want to come full stop. So some of the things I'm going to show you today may be great and wonderful, but you may not be able to get them in your particular hotel. So the show is annual. It's over 3 days, and this year it was in Austin, Texas, and next year it will be in Anaheim, California. So I'm going to give you a little pictorial review of that, but also, okay, show you that we are also into multimedia, and if you go to Google and you look at Google Video, you'll see some of the videos that I've actually prepared, and hopefully the one from today will be on there as well. Okay, one of the first things that we noticed at the show was there's a proliferation of digital signage. Some of you may already use digital signage in your hotels, but I'm going to show you some examples today of what some companies are doing. One of those focuses on using TVs outdoor. So by pool area, or if you've got a beach or resort type of property, is to actually use outdoor TVs. But then when you get on to digital signage, you'll see much more interactivity on those signs. So they're going to display news, information, weather, traffic, very popular within the hotels, and also much more 3D types of graphics. So it gives you a much better representation of what's actually happening on the levels of your hotel. And also what you're going to see today are much more touch and interactive screens. Some of these may come from properties that you already know. For example, this is the Marriott Courtyard, and they have developed a specific product called the Go Board, and they are featuring this as part of all of their hotels. So if you're going to go to a Marriott Courtyard specifically, you will find one of these in the lobby. Hyatt are using this. Examples from Hilton. Janus, which is a very popular company specifically within the casino industry. Very popular also is to have airline schedules interactively shown within your hotel. So you're picking up information directly from the airline system and displaying it in the lobby. I guess Vincent could do some of this stuff because it's quite interactive, so there's an opportunity here for him. Another one is actually to issue boarding passes within the hotel. There are several companies now promoting kiosks where you can go up to it, enter your flight details, your password, whatever it is to get it, and print out your boarding pass directly from a kiosk. More examples of the digital signage, and here is a rather complex looking flight information board. I guess if you're flying domestically in the US, you understand how some of these flight schedules look like. This one here, you'll see the interactiveness of the board and what they can actually do. These are touch screens, by the way, as we go through here. And this particular example has 3 boards linked together. It's quite easy to do today. The actual signage is not that expensive. It's just a matter of getting somebody to do the programming for you onto the digital signs. This particular kiosk version with the concierge will talk to you. You can ask it a question and somebody will come back to you with the answer. Hopefully the right answer. So a big focus on digital signage and interactivity. The next thing was what we call connectivity panels. Some hotels call this remote jackpacks, or RJPs. Again, a rather large varieties of these. Here you see, so the idea of a connectivity panel is when you're putting in a flat screen TV into your rooms, and the guest is coming along, whether it's with their iPod, their MP3 player, camera, games machine, they can simply plug it in and connect across to the TV. Now these are in all different degrees of sophistication, and here you can see on this one, for example, you can have a phone jack if you stood off at modem dial, although it's not that popular. Here you will get your broadband access, audio, and various video connections and digital video. Here's another one. This is designed so you would sit your MP3 player here and then connect it straight out here, so it's a little cradle for it. As an example, again, what has been done in a hotel. This company is very interesting. They make panels that can actually be pushed down, whereas you normally have in a function room or a meeting room area those little sort of gold-coloured panels that come up on the floor. Here, then, this company now is making them so they fit into desks, and the guests can actually use them. Again, very sophisticated what you can do on your video connections, power sockets, network cabling, video, and of course audio will come here. And you can get them in different colours to match your particular furniture. Much better for the interior designers. Press this down. This one offers USB connections, so you can connect to the USB device and also get power charging from it, so the guest doesn't actually have to bring their computer if they didn't have it, or the power socket. This is a rather nice device. It's just being launched. And what I like about this is the shape. It's very nice. You can actually wall mount it or sink it into a piece of furniture so it would lay down. This is a 45-degree angle. But here it has a specific iPod connector. So rather than the guest having to come along and connect into the different powers, into here, for example, they would plug straight into the the iPod connection, which is here. That's rather unique. Here it also has two USB connections. One is for charging and one is for data. So if you had a printer in the room or some other USB device, it would fit in very nicely. And of course it has power sockets here, and these will be changed according to the requirements for a particular country, held in the hand. See that? Coming along in popularity are e-fridges. Some of you may already use e-fridges in your hotel rooms. These are electronic fridges, or automatic minibars is another word for it. So if the guest takes an item out of the minibar, it gets automatically posted onto the folio. There are, of course, two different schools of thought on this, whether you want to have that as an automatic function or not, but they are becoming definitely more popular, and now you can see they can have a rather nice glass front, different shapes, different designs, and as this company calls it, the minibar of the future. Telephones. A huge amount of telephones. Some of you may be looking to change out your telephone system in the future, and you may say, well, should I go to an IP phone system, or do I just stick to a digital phone system, but I don't like the particular handsets? The industry, the telephone handset manufacturing industry, has, I believe, now finally responded to that and has some very interesting handsets available. I'm going to show you some of those that are very, very different in their design. So this particular device here, what it does is this has a wireless phone and a room phone. And if you want to have two phones in a guest room, say you want to have a fixed phone on the desk and you want to have a wireless phone by the bed, the way this works is that this wireless phone actually connects with the desk phone. So it's just a local connection, and then this goes out to your PBX. You don't have to set up a separate antenna system within the room. It's very slick the way it looks. And again, this is more selection of handsets. This is from one of the very popular telephone handset manufacturers that you may already be using within your hotel. But this again shows the next generation of those. There's some retro handsets if you want to put those into your room as well. They will work on a digital system. And then there are some voice over internet service type of telephones that if you wanted to offer Skype, for example, or MSN, or QQ, this type of functionality, you could put in one of these voice over internet telephones. How it looks from the side. Another view of the handsets. The direction of conference calling phones as well. Wireless phones. And this handset here is not actually released yet. This is by NEC. It was being privately previewed at the show. It's an IP phone. The interesting thing about this phone is that the image which is displayed here can be replicated onto your TV. So there's some connectivity coming in the future between the phone and the TV. And if you call the call center, or for example the concierge, and you ask them a question, how do I get somewhere, for example, how do I get from here to the Bund? What they can do is on your TV, they can bring up a map of Shanghai using what is called a whiteboard and get a crayon and draw on it the routing for you to go. So there's an interaction now between the telephone, the call center agent, and your TV. Of course, you can only do that if you have a full IP infrastructure into your hotel. This screen actually retracts back into here, into the set by pressing a little button on the side, and only the top part of the screen remains exposed. So if you think it doesn't look very attractive, you can make it have a smaller footprint. Some other types of handsets from very popular manufacturers, as you can see, they have large screens across here where you can display lots of information on them. Some close-up views. Here's another type of phone, which is interesting. This is designed to work in bathrooms. This is a hands-free telephone. So if you want to place a telephone, let's say it's the toilet area of your hotel, but you didn't want the guest to physically use the handset, maybe because of hygiene reasons, you have a hands-free phone. So when it rings, the guest simply can either touch it or you can make it go off hook by a voice command. They're just doing a hands-free type of call. You can also restrict this keypad if you want to only one button, which is to call the operator. So for emergency calling, you can do one, because we find that in most places, people don't actually originate calls from the bathroom. They just answer calls. But this is a bathroom phone. And some unclassified items. Temperature control units. Some of you may already be using these in your hotel. Now, on the side of these, they have motion detectors installed. So instead of you actually putting a key into a slot on the side of the door, as you come in, they detect the motion and will turn on the power. Or if there's no motion, then they will turn it off. It's a little more green. Some examples of switches, nothing that's very fancy. Starting to become in popularity now are tablet PCs. You may have heard of tablet PCs. I think Vincent used to use a tablet PC many years ago. I think when we first met, a little bit before its time then, but I think they're now coming into play. Tablet PCs are designed, they have no keyboard. They are just a screen, and you write on them or you show information. And there are a lot of those actually on display by this particular company, Tablet Kiosk. So they can be used by housekeeping staff, engineering staff, concierge, reception staff, anybody around the hotel that can be walking around and doing functions. And if you've heard about something called Windows 7, which is the successor to Windows Vista, it's specifically designed to work on a touch screen. I think they call it multi-touch, is the phrase, which was developed for the iPhone. So if you've seen people doing gesturing on the iPhone, Windows 7 actually has that built in, which will be released, I believe, in the middle of next year. Other information about TVs. This is a cute little product. This is a small computer that can sit behind the TV in your guest room and allow you to do computer functions on the TV. It's almost like a thin client. It has no hard disk, it's just pure fixed memory, but contains all the Microsoft Office applications to allow the guests to do that. Very cute. Bathroom mirror TVs. Quite a few companies had those on display. I don't know if anybody has a bathroom mirror TV in their hotels, but they seem to be much more mature now and popular for people to use. I like this particular system very much. It's a uniform control system used in a lot of casinos, larger hotels. What they do is they put what are called RFID chips into staff uniforms and laundry. For laundry, if you have a linen chute in your hotel, as you push the linen through the linen chute, it automatically registers it being pushed through the chute, and it knows which floor it's come from, and it knows what inventory to go back onto the floor, and it eliminates the sorting that has to be done within the laundry department. For uniforms, a chip which goes into the uniform, when the staff member goes back to the laundry department, the uniform department, they simply drop their uniform onto a reader. It knows who the uniform has come from, and if you have one of these conveyor belt systems, it will bring the clean one to the point and actually deliver it back to the staff member. Very clever. TV in the shower. Docking stations for iPods. This device is just being released. It's a small container where you actually can put your iPod, your phone, whatever it is that you want to charge, and it has the cables already built into it. And the way it's just a small felt pad, and underneath are all the cables to connect to your particular devices, so the guest doesn't have to bring those with them to the hotel. They can simply plug into them. And as new devices are developed, they can add those cables. And of course, you choose whatever color you want for the top of the device to match with your interior design. Paging systems. So if you have a guest that's waiting for a table, you can simply give them one of these devices here, and when something is ready, it flashes, they can go and pick it up. Door locks. This particular door lock, excuse me, and you can't see it being operated here, will open with a mobile phone. It uses a protocol called NFC, Near Field Communications, which is on the next generation of mobile phones. So if the guest comes to your hotel, you will be able to program their mobile phone or send them a code in advance, and they can simply go to the room and open the door with their mobile phone. For business centers, there's a company now offering Macs for use in business centers. And of course, that brings us to what is called Guestroom 2010. Guestroom 2010 is a feature of HITEC. It's where there's a committee of people that invite vendors to submit products for positioning in Guestroom 2010. It's a view of the future of what people believe hotel rooms will look like. Unfortunately, if you the name is not really as relevant anymore as what it used to be, so now it's been renamed to Guestroom 20X. In other words, of a room of the near future, or of the future. And so, when you see products in there, of course, if you want to look 5 or 10 years out, those products will only be prototypes today. So for a product to go into the guest room, it has to be a real product. So we're talking maybe a 2-year window at the maximum of things that you'll see in there. So this is a little review of Guestroom 2010. And as you can see, it's been renamed to Guestroom 20X. So first thing is that when you go to the door to get in, there is the door lock here, which will open with a mobile phone, as I explained to you just now. Here's them presenting to the door to get in. The door lock, that which is just a standard door lock, but it's read by this device here. There is also a door viewer, and unlike a normal peephole that you will see in your doors, this one actually carries a video connection. This is how it looks on the side view and the view from the back when you're looking out to the corridor. So it's a video display of what goes into the corridor. A digital door viewer. Next thing is the desk itself that they put there. They feature a PC and also a device here. Sorry, this device, a connectivity panel, and here is a device here called the Amazon Kindle. I don't know if anyone has heard of the Amazon Kindle, but it's an electronic book reader. So they believe that in the future people won't be reading real books, but they will be reading them electronically. And here's another view of the desk. Connections here for different devices. The electronic fridge. And the small little TV here by the minibar with the connectivity panel. And I will come on to explain a couple of these in a moment. Here's the connection panel. So like I showed you before, the little box where people can drop their items onto the charge. Here is a desktop version. This is the Amazon Kindle, which is an electronic book. And as you put the content in here, you can press the pages forward. The resolution is quite amazing of the way to do it. And I believe this could hold something like 100 paperback books. Extremely popular on Amazon. Coffee machine actually built into the wall. So it's recessed here and just comes out a small part. Minibar. And control systems in the room. These control systems, although they might look quite familiar to you, of course for the temperature and also for opening and closing the curtains, these are all what it could call using Zigbee protocol. Zigbee is like Bluetooth, so if you're using Bluetooth now between your keyboard and computer, or between your mobile phone handset and your mobile phone, it's similar to that type of protocol, but we call it Zigbee. It's a low-range, low-power form of communications. So instead of having to run cables to all these different devices, it does it via radio within the room. And here you can see is the radio receiver that will open and close the curtains. Another device here. This, unfortunately, is the way it looks at on the floor, but they leave it exposed so you understand the way the room is put together rather than tidy it up too much. And you can control these devices, if you like, through the TV, through the remote control of the TV. So as you see, there is more interaction with the TV than before. Connectivity panel. This TV, some of you may have read about recently, is a new TV that has been launched that is extremely thin. It's very difficult to actually do it justice, but if you can see the profile of the TV, it's only about this thick. It's currently very expensive. I believe this particular one is about $20,000 US, but it will come down hopefully in price and very soon. So it's a flat panel TV, but very thin, using LED. And it's made by Sony Digital. These are speakers which are actually built into the wall. You can see this gentleman here is pulling out a panel, and it's a concealed speaker that sits into a wall panel unit of the room. So they call it invisible speakers. Here is a place where you can sit your mobile phone or some other devices which have the facility enabled, and it will charge off of this pad. So there's not even any more need to run cables. This is a future technology. It won't be launched for a while, but it's coming. And an antique intercom. Some people believe that it's not necessary anymore to have a telephone in the room. So they are developing alternative devices. Not necessarily to have a telephone, because as we know, we don't actually generate much revenue from the telephone anymore. But you need some form of communication between the room and the call center for emergency purposes or room service. So here they have developed this particular device, which is an antique intercom. This is difficult to really do it justice, but this is 3D TV. If you were physically there in front of it, the image is quite amazing. It's the ability to watch 3D TV without special or funny glasses on. And I was very impressed with it, coming from Philips soon. So if you're thinking about putting in new TVs into your rooms or your suites, you may want to think about putting 3D content. It can have a 20-inch display and a 42-inch. I have no idea about the pricing yet for these. This is a faucet which will actually, you can change the shape where the faucet bends here. It has some different ways of turning it up and down, and it will also emit a colored light using LEDs. So it will tell you the temperature of the water. Of course, if it's red, it's hot. If it's blue, it's cold. And the temperatures will change. The articulating faucet. Picture of a toilet, I know. But this is what is called the Hatbox toilet by Kohler. It has all sorts of... it's a tankless power toilet, supposedly for the guest room of the future. And here is a shower. It has multiple shower heads. Again, a little bit difficult to do it justice from the pictures, but it has multiple jets coming from inside the shower of the cubicle. You can see, I believe I have the image coming from the top, where the water comes from. Multiple heads in there. It's also an online shower. So if you have an iPod connected, you can control it from within the shower itself and watch TV if you wanted to. Again, made by a company called Kohler. Here's a little bit more of the control unit for that. The DTV shower. This is what they call the bed of the future. My company called Amic. It's a very special bed because it has these devices in here which will change the contour of the particular bed for you. It's a handmade bed, and I understand that it starts off at about $25,000 US to have this particular bed. So if you want to put something into your presidential suite that's very special. This has been featured 2 years in a row now for the guest room of the future. A little bit of a focus there. And this is a clock. This clock is voice activated. So if you want to talk to the clock and say, wake me up at 6:15, it will understand and hopefully wake you up at 6:15 in the morning. An interactive bath, so you can lay in the bath and also control your iPod from there. The vibroacoustic, and the water and the jets from the jacuzzi will vary based on the music that you're playing back. This again is a mirror TV. And if you want more information about the Guestroom 2010, you can visit this website, or of course I'll be happy to answer questions. Thank you.